Joining me now from Edinburgh is Brian Cox. He is campaigning for the yes side of the independence vote. He's an award-winning actor and he's played roles in major films such as Braveheart and The Bourne Identity. Brian, thanks for joining us. As I mentioned, you are supporting the yes campaign in this referendum. Why do you want Scotland to vote for independence?
Because it's time that Scotland was independent, because it's time to make our own decisions on our own behalf, decisions which have been made far too often not on our behalf. We've really not been represented properly in probably the last 20 years, but even further than that. And it's time that we were represented, and we can do it for ourselves.
The three main UK political leaders promised this week that Scotland would get more powers if they stay in the Union. And I'm wondering, isn't that getting the best of both worlds here? You stay in the Union, you get the advantages of that, and you also have these extra powers.
No, well, there's no definite thing that we can get those extra powers. I mean, already David Cameron's backbenchers have said that they are not going to agree to these extra powers, and this always has to be decided. Now, we wanted a Devo Max in the original referendum paper, but Cameron wouldn't allow us to have it. And now they're coming very much at the last minute, say, you can have it, you can have it. And as somebody once said, it's like a vow that was written on the back of a cigarette packet. It really is too little and too late. The momentum is on. There is a movement in Scotland now, a movement that is moving firmly towards independence.
Brian, one of the leaders of the Better Together campaign, that's a campaign that wants Scotland to remain in the Union. His name is Alistair Darling, opposes independence for Scotland and insists that Scotland would be better off inside the United Kingdom. Let's take a listen to what he said.
One of the reasons that I believe that Scotland is better and stronger together is by being part of the United Kingdom, we have that greater security. Now, of course, if you look at the wider economy, Scotland has an awful lot going for us. Our businesses, our firms do well, but I would argue that is because of the United Kingdom, not despite the United Kingdom.
So, Brian, what about that argument that Scotland would be better off inside the Union?
Well, Scotland has been inside the Union, and we haven't been better off. There's a whole underclass, working class, grassroots class that has grown up, who are very much affected, who have felt that they have not been represented properly over the last 20 years. And finally, they're saying enough is enough. They've had it. You know, I was campaigning out in Dundee, which is my hometown, just last week, and alone there's been, in the last 4 weeks, there's been 7,000 people who have joined the register to vote. People who have never voted before, and they haven't voted since Margaret Thatcher's poll tax. So they've very much felt misrepresented, and they don't feel part of the United Kingdom. They've never felt part of the United Kingdom. But now they've got a chance to feel part of Scotland, an independent Scotland, and that's what they're looking for. And that will give them back their own sense of self-worth and their own sense of self-esteem. And it's been a long time coming, but now it is coming.
You know, both campaigns, of course, are appealing to the hearts and minds of voters. We have the British Prime Minister David Cameron, who appealed, I guess, to the hearts of people when he said there's no going back. This is a once-and-for-all decision. Are you prepared to walk away from a union that is over 300 years old?
Well, the question is the union, you know, how legitimate the union was in the first place. And there's severe doubts about that. There's an excellent book by Ian McWhirter called Road to Referendum, which deals with that brilliantly, much better than I could do in the short space of time that we've got. But, you know, the interesting thing about the Scots is they've spent quite a lot of their lives and quite a lot of their history doing things on behalf of other people. I mean, for example, you know, when we did lose our country, the great philosophers and moralists of the 18th century, David Hume, Francis Hutcheson, Adam Ferguson, Dougal Stewart, they got together and wrote the most extraordinary kind of manifestos on independence. And that became the basis of the American Revolution. We gave the empire our military. And we gave them our military because William Pitt thought it would be a good idea after proscription, when we were denied our own colors, we were denied our tartan. He said, well, let's have them, but they can be military units, they can be mercenary military units, and they will serve the British Empire. And then ultimately, in the end, we actually gave them the Labour Party, which was really the whole basis of social democracy. And this whole campaign and the success of this campaign is the success of social democracy. And if we get independence, we will get it without a single shot being fired, and that is extraordinary in this day and age when you think about it. Scotland is a magnificent example to the rest of the world of how social democracy can work. And whether there's a yes or a no on Friday, the triumph has been social democracy.
Brian, if Scotland does get independence, it's a relatively small country, 5 million people. Are you concerned about the major challenges that it will face in the world today? Things like being part of Europe, things like being part of NATO, re-entering the world as an independent state?
I think we're ready to re-enter the world. We've created the world. We're ready to re-enter it. We've contributed so much to the world, and we now can do it in a very unbridled way. Scotland is an open market now. You know, after independence, we will be an open market. We can do the most extraordinary things, and we have a lot of natural resources. We have wealth in our oil, in our water, in our renewables. We're a very strong country. We are the 20th richest country in the world after France and the United Kingdom.
Brian Cox, thank you for joining us, sir. We are going to take a break right now. When we come back, we will hear from two Scots on either side of this independence referendum. Stay with us. You're on The Heat.